Hello, here's how to send your contribution via the new Airtel code. Step 1, star 115 hash. Step 2, select option 4. Step 3, select option 6, goods and services. Step 4, select option 1, enter merchant code. Step 5, enter business name. Here, please type Radio M. Step 6, enter amounts. Step 7, enter reference. Here, please type your name, for example, Mulenga Banda. Step 8, enter your secret PIN and your contribution will be sent. Radio Maria Zambia, a Christian voice in your home.
This week's edition of the Lusaka, the Apex Medical University Radio Grand Round. I'm Stephen Chongo as usual, and in the studios I have with me Professor Taxon Lambert and Madam Shinondo. Welcome.
Thank you, Mr. Chongo.
How has been the week?
Okay, good one.
Great. Okay, this is your program, our dear listeners, where we discuss issues that concern you, especially your health. And at some point we'll open the line so that you can contribute or ask questions on any questions on anything that you want to find out from our able panelists. All right, Madam Shannon.
Good morning, Mr. Joe.
You can officially welcome us and also introduce the topic.
Great, thank you. So, just to compliment Mr. Chongo, so welcome to the Lusaka Apex Medical University virtual Radio Grand Round. Okay, so this is a tool we use to further help educate not only the general public on matters of health and body, but also as a tool to further educate our students, especially for those students who are listening. That's usually moments when you hear more specific bits of information. So really, this is also tailored to our students. Now, we just recently left, I believe it's the circulatory system. Yes, and instead of going down, we're actually going back up to the central nervous system. Why? Now, to help further illustrate the meeting of these areas, which would be central nervous system, the brain, respiratory system, and circulatory system. Yes. So, because at the end of the day, this is an organ that still needs nutrients, blood flow, oxygen, and all of that. So now we're showing how this is now connected. So particularly today, we're going to begin with the frontal lobe. Now, just a brief overview of what the brain is. We have frontal lobe, parietal lobe, occipital lobe, and temporal lobes. An easy gesture I've learned is just to swipe your head back and cover the ear, so that you know that there's 1, 2, 3, 4. A sweeping motion. So once again, frontal lobe, parietal lobe, occipital lobe, temporal lobe. It moves in that fashion.
She's a doctor.
Very good.
So now more specifically today, we're going to enter what we know as the motor cortex within the frontal lobe. Now this one, it's responsible for things like planning, executing, how do I put this? Intentional movement. Let's say, for example, I want to pick up my pen. This is the motor cortex at work. So this is voluntary movement. Yes. But definitely, Professor is going to go more into detail about that, including other things that may affect this part of the body, which could be infection, trauma, or tumors. But I know for starters, we need to understand.
We need that.
Thank you very much. May I start as usual by bringing greetings from our Vice Chancellor, Professor Njeresani, our CEO, Professor Peter Mwawa, our Director of Medical Education, Professor John Mudenda, all the deans and the registrar and all class representatives who are all connected to give quality education to our students at Apex. Coming to Amalumbo Kulides is prayer. The prayer is extremely important. As you will see, God gave Adam and Eve the best brain. And as we go through the brain, you will be seeing for yourself why I'm saying so. It's a unique arrangement that human brain was given all these capacities. And to make it easier, we'll go area by area. Today, let's concentrate on the motor cortex. And prayer plus hard work. Hard work will give you bread. Hard work will give you bread. Prayer takes care of the breath of life, the soul in your body. And that's what gave life to Adam. It was the breath of life. That's the soul. So I would like us to always remember that the two things are important. Prayer, in order to remain connected to our Creator through prayer. 2, hard work. We need to develop at individual level, family level, society, at national level. Every able-bodied person, male or female, must hard work every day. Then we shall do. They tend to run at a faster rate. The elders tend to come the average of 70, but 65, 68 is still okay. But if you are going below that, 50 is bradycardia. It's dangerous. It means the myocardium is not transmitting that energy well from the pacemaker spreading to band of his for contraction.
Wow.
For contraction of the heart. You remember where we have come from?
Yeah. Okay, we have another call. Hello? Hello?
Hello, Pedro Maria.
Yes.
Yeah.
Mwaka kwanje.
Wino Mauka.
Saka business. Nikamba na Richard kama sasa.
Okay, Richard.
Ningefuna kufunza ine palime kwa nivutia kimuti ya mimi. Sasa ndira kita ngafuna yamba nimamba tunangana kidogo so like yangu kuzeni hata rati ndipo mimi ngatira manje kuyameme kuvawa manje mimi uvawa maningi kufanya nzangana nao 3 or 4 days so kaluvawa maningi so this is a problem shimoji kaenda clinic kanta kakipana tukafika ndio problem ni nayo ni futi niko na mwana na yeye akitazinanka ni mtu abini vita amanzi so sisi amesora mimi hapo zimekuwa na kukuza so kuna mwisho semi sisi kwenye hapo
Mazi echoka kuti mwana
mutu mwameno mumshat ma tutuza so
Tuza. Okay. No, I think very important questions. No, whenever someone has got a headache, we usually want to take a history of headache. How is this headache? When did it start? How did it start? Was he injured on the head? And what is the periodicity of this headache? Is it more in the morning or late in the afternoon? What business is the person doing? We check all this in the history taking. Then we examine. Is there pressure in the head? We check the eyes, We look into the eyes as well. And we check the power in the all four limbs. Group of muscle by group of muscle. We check right, left to compare. And then we should also check if the sinuses have been infected, especially frontal headache. If it's occipital headache, is the neck okay? Because the nerve from the neck supply the occipital part. We check all this. So this patient, Panado all along is not good. Because the Panado is just suppressing the pain. We must make a diagnosis. I hope my colleagues who are looking after him are hearing. The most important thing is what the chair has said. They say umanena chatisa zae kutinjo vitoke myanga. Mr. Chonga, I think you will master this one now. Look for the cause, not the effects, the symptoms. No, look for the cause.
Okay. Right, we have more calls coming in. Hello.
Hello, Moka Bwanji.
Wino Moka mai.
Ana ukabune niliko na vuto. Niliko na side problem.
Side?
Then side problem. Then mtu mazala maningu wa one side. Ku right hand side nina bwana gwaku mtengo nkali mwana. So si malala koma pamanje nikaenda distance ni shamba ko lawa. Problem ni sani.
So mwavera site, then headache, then mwendo wawa. Sitela mai? Nanga kuchipatala mnapita?
Naenda kukupatala bakamba kuti sibapeza problem ya mense inailiyonse but yenda isira.
Oh, okay. No, masiku yano ngati mwaona wa optician kuli mashini kuli computer akawone mkati madiso anterior chamber, posterior chamber, retina ni chiani andi ngati mutu mawawa nawo mutu ngaonongese vision tizafika ko tukuze ni mkati mwa mutu vision ilikuti kunkonto uku so ngati wawa kwa mutu muberezerenso mupite kuchipatala bapime bwino andi uyo mwendolu wawa mtilu kambira lero ingachoke mutu vuto ukavutitsa mwendo so mubererenso kuchipatala. That's why mulumvera i program kuti mudziwe mukakakambe bwanji kwa dokota wanu kutakumveni kuti mukambe bwino uchiruvuta motere mpaka chioneke chirupangisa vuto ndio muzira ndiye lomba mankwala ziko
mukambiri 0972695200. Hello.
Good morning.
Good morning, madam.
Good morning, professor.
Morning.
Bana songa mulishani.
Nishani. Chilemba chofi.
I'm fine.
I'm fine. I didn't hear my name. I'm so sorry, madam.
Okay.
Professor, I have 2 questions. What causes migraine headaches? 2. Is migraine headache hereditary? 3. How can it be treated? Thank you.
Very good.
Madam,
because there has been an experience here where sometimes it's now that in a call or when I went into the medical field, that's when I realized that it was migraine. But at first, you don't want light, you don't want noise,
and that kind of thing. But I've observed it in my children.
Madam, madam, before you cut, I would like to share on the issue of migraine, because I myself suffer from severe migraines, and I've noticed that it also runs in my family. So it could potentially be hereditary, though yes, I know Professor is going to answer that, but I have also noticed a trend, because my late mother had it, and some of her siblings also had it, and I've also come to notice that some people's the intensity of migraines vary. So for example, you might experience total paralysis on one side, even to the point where it looks like a stroke, to be honest, while others, they might experience prolonged intense headaches with severe nausea. So what I've come to learn about migraines, for me, yes, I was about to say, for me, that's what works. No amount of medication will help. I have to vomit, then I will feel better. So possibly, I think with migraines, it could have a number of triggers, because I've also been examining my own as well as in my family. Some of the triggers could be, one, stress. So if you are frequently stressed, even if it's overthinking, I've come to believe that, though again, Professor will validate this or not, I've come to believe that when one is stressed, there is a buildup of toxins in the body, and your body might be overwhelmed. And for those of us who do have migraine, that might be the body expelling it. That's why we vomit, because even if you have nothing in the stomach, whatever, even the bile, everything will come out. Then the other type I've seen is the certain triggers for migraine. Certain triggers could be, for example, I've seen some people get migraine from, if they drink milk that is a bit expired, they will get migraine. If people take or if they smell a certain substance, they will get a migraine. So those of us who have migraine, we have to be mindful of our triggers. What sets us off? Yes, it's debilitating. I understand.
I'm so happy, Madam Shinondo.
The other thing that I've observed, maybe would be help, maybe doctor can comment. At the onset of the migraine, if you take something, you can control it, see, getting to the extreme. But if you miss it, then it will go until it gets into the end. That's when you start feeling better until you vomit.
Yes.
No, I want to comment that the migraine headache is what we call vascular headache. Vascular headache.
Yes.
So what happens is the vasoconstriction. That's what happens. So if it's severe on one side, there's inadequate blood supply to your brain on one side. That's why you may feel weak on one side.
Okay.
Yes. And until you find what triggers this migraine, of course some of them, as we are saying, there's a genetic factor to it. You inherit. But the most important thing, try to locate what is triggering these vascular spasms, and that's very important. And then the treatment will involve controlling the pain and the vascular dilatation. In the brain itself, as we go deeper, you will find that the brain is the controlling center of almost all the activities, including autonomic nervous system. So when we are about to run or to fight somebody, autonomic nervous system, sympathetic fibers, they become more active, and they redistribute the blood. And where blood is not required, blood is required in the muscles to run away from a situation. The blood supply will be reduced in some areas to supply the active areas. So as we go along, you will see, and the thinking, the stress can also trigger, the stress. And as we go through the brain, you will find out how, when I say God-gifted human brain, you will see all these steps that we are taking. But today we are concentrating on the motor cortex.
Another concern, doctor, is that for about 3-4 months now, I have pain on the left side of the head, just left side of the temple, back, to the neck and down.
Yes.
Then with that, I get jerking and in the same left leg, jerking like so.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know what's happening because I think I have everything you talk about, Doc.
No, as we go through the system, you'll be diagnosing. I'm happy you are a health worker. So I'm sure you will follow this. Thank you.
Yeah, I will.
Thank you, ma'am.
Because so I don't know whether it's the nerves, I don't know whether it's the veins, I don't know. But it's not a pain. I take a Panadol and it goes. No, it will go to hold and go on its own after some time, especially if I rub it a bit. And I have a history of increased intracranial pressure.
Yeah. No, we shall go through. You'll be listening to this program. Thank you. Thank you.
All right. Thank you so much.
Yes, thank you. Just one more question. I think migraine, it deserves its own day for this because it's quite debilitating. Now, you mentioned that technically it is, what did you call it?
Vascular headache.
Yes. Now, let's say for those of us who do have it, over the years, is there any type of slow damage done to the vessels, to the brain? Yes.
Any condition that reduces blood flow to any part of the body has an effect if it's prolonged or it's frequently coming. That's why to find the triggering factors is very important so that you minimize the number of attacks. But some of them may present like what we call transient ischemic attacks. Transient ischemic attacks, which means vascular spasms or microthrombi may form and then may disturb blood supply to the brain. Thank you.
All right, we have more calls.
Mati kuchipata aliko lero amgulo wanu mchongo.
Nasira kuchani traditional
Mambo.
Hello?
Yeah, mwauka bwanji.
Bwino mauka?
Mwauka bwanja dokota.
Tauka mfumu mauka bwanji.
Tauka ine ndinozo kutumira kuno ku Kawama.
Oho.
Na mafunzo yabiri.
Inde.
Kunikira kwake kwa mmene masenzera. Romba nafuna uziwa makamaka chomwe chimasipika tikanena kuti munthu wafunda wasokonezeka. Ichitika nchani mbongo muja.
Inde.
Mwina nti malankhula kuti yayi malankhula yosaziwa mokambira timatuti mawaya tunangosaduka kaisabwanji munthu anasokonezeka. Kwamba chene chichitika kuti tikambe kuti munthu wafika pa point yoti wafunda. Ulinga ni amene bongo kusebenzera chichitika nchotani. Ile funzo langa loyamba. Number 2, kuja kuyuti kuja kumbuyo ija geti yopitira kuja kwala kanibala kikuja ikasukuru kabana vajamonika osokonezeka kusokonezeka fizi vatotolo ngati mnayo kapena muli aware of that school. But vaphunzira lomba kaonekedwe kawaoneka monga isiokwana bwinobwino. Izi like a condition niyobadwa nayo kuti isisa kabajanchani vena anakamba kuti yayi ni kumwera mankhwala mine family planning akayamwanga kwazimayi pamene vana va condition ya jama bado kuti nzoona
zikomo.
All right.
Tiambire kuwana chilengedwe chinalitero but mwana ngatalukula mwamake tikambe kuti amake sala ndira bwino antenatal care, sala ndira ma supplements like especially folic acid is very key. Even ferrous sulfate is very key in any antenatal. So we call neural tube defects can develop where there's a deficiency of folates. Neural tube defects can develop. It means we have denied the unborn baby the nutrients that are required for proper central nervous system development. Some of them will be born with hydrocephalus, Some of them will, meningocele along the spine, things like that. Encephalocele at occipital in front, the defects are due to denial of what is required in a pregnant mother. That's why ladies must start antenatal care quickly. But sometimes it's a viral infection during pregnancy, and it can affect the baby developing. Some of them, like the one the special school is talking about, those are babies who were born in a very contracted pelvis, and the mother is forced to deliver in a contracted pelvis. And the child, instead of being hours or 10 hours, lasts for 24 hours. The young girl is still struggling. And the head is squeezed and the brain cells are badly damaged. Mgava cerebral palsy. Some of them do meningitis, things like that. Infections, trauma, infections can affect it. But when it's normal process, every child is born with adequate number of neurons and will grow with those neurons. Because once you are born, they are never regenerating. These are age cells that God gave us. So we must look after the heads very well.
Very well. But the other question is that...
The other question was...
What happens?
So like as we are going, and the central frontal lobe, we are going to talk about the thinking, about the emotions, the intelligence. Just listen, keep on listening. But mental illness, some of it is genetic. Like you hear families of schizophrenia. It's a well-known thing. But some like depression, it's reactive depression. Too much stress, brain is not performing well, can go into reactive depression. Some are going into endogenous depression. But it's a dysfunctional element of the brain. Even epilepsy, we shall mention it as we go through the brain. Thank you.
Okay, I think we get the last call as we slowly wind up. 0972695200 or 0956520277. Hello, caller. Hello.
Hello.
Yo.
Walamba injina kuchisa ngoma.
Inde.
Imepasi yanga rate imaenda ku 85 yani.
Aha.
Then last week after nataka test inakuwa 50. That's why not concerned that why always ingala pa 85, 82, 85, 82. Then manjelo ya bunch is 50.
Aha.
Nataka test kamba 2 ya bora normal ku 85.
Nanga blood pressure yanu ilibanji, systolic and diastolic. Yapa mwamba na yapansi ilibanji.
Imani pasa so hapa iya last week iwa pasa ni 126 over 79.
Oh, you are very good. That is the normal. That is normal. But it checking echiru tamangisa mtima ni chiani. Azachita ECG. Uona the pacemaker and how the electrical activity of the heart is running. The pacemaker is already inbuilt there in your heart, and to see how the electrical flow is taking place to give you that fast and sometimes slower. In a head injury patient, tikaona waso, we are worried. Is there fluid loss or is there compression on the cardiorespiratory center?
Second testing and HSG. Some of them are chirondostically fresh footage. Your test is another took my review for 17 next month.
Angaembekeze kudivironda vipole mkati namba HSG iyo sio fulumira poleretu poyamba anachosa mafibroids iyo HSG afuna aone matubu ya libanji ni ocheguka o yanavalika. andi pachawachosa mafibroid afuna adziwe ngati angakhale na mwana kutsogolo lombanga ati sangakhale na mwana olomachosa mafibroids ngati maniovalika fallopian tubes so ija HSG niyakuti apime aone ngati niyotseguka mungayembekezereko muwauza adokota wanu
nango after mamansi angakuto
after 2-3 months angakachite HSG ziko mamai.
All right. Yeah. Thank you so much. I'll give you 30 seconds in which to
thank you thank you very much, Mr. Chongo. You can see that our people are following and they are asking very relevant questions. I'm so pleased. But we have entered the central nervous system, the most vital organ in the body. Ask any health worker will tell you the most vital organ in the body is the brain. That's why it's the center of the central nervous system. This is where you appreciate the creation of Adam and Eve. Thank you.
Madam.
Thank you, Mr. Chongo. So once again, I'd like to thank our viewers and listeners, especially for their participation. Just to reflect on what Professor Lambert has said, more and more of our viewers and listeners, the way they convey their conditions, it's getting more and more specific, more and more informed. So this is excellent. The growth of our viewers and listeners, we thoroughly appreciate it. So please continue bringing your questions and your concerns. So this has brought us to the end of today's topic. Now, seeing as how we're in the central nervous system, Professor, are we still going to stay in the frontal?
Yes. We don't. Let me tell you, we have done motor cortex. There's the pre-motor cortex. There's the motor eye cortex. There's now association areas where there's the area of thinking, planning, executive. Thank you.
All right. Thank you so much. We've come to the close of the program. We'd like to thank the production crew and also you, our viewers, for participating and just listening and getting the information, and also my guests on the program. So join us next week. Remember, this is a collaboration by Lumen TV, Radio Maria Zambia, and Radio Maria Chipata. So join us next week at the same time. Bye for now, and enjoy the rest of the programs, and stay healthy.